Welcome back. It's been a couple weeks because of all the things, travel, WordCamp
Because of
US,
all the things.
But we are back and we are here to talk about marketing. OMG, IMG. Oh my gosh, I just saw the screenshot you sent me.
Yeah.
I'm having computer issues today too. So I was doing a live stream. I'm struggling over words like what's the live what? A live stream today for WP Accessibility Day, which is next week. And I had Amber Hines and Steve. Oh, forgive me, Steve. I don't remember your last name off the top of my head. From Equalize Digital. They are, Amber is the lead organizer, and they are both with Equalize Digital. What's the word I want? Platinum sponsor. My house cleaners were here today too. So they closed my office door so that they could, not be interrupting all the things that I had going on today. They closed one cat in and one cat out.
Oh boy.
The cat, and then they left. The cat that was out, nonstop meowing. The cat that was in, trying desperately to get my attention to leave. She walked all over my laptop keyboard, which disconnected my audio. And then when I reached over to get her off, she knocked. I have Legos everywhere on my desk right now. It's just like literally everything is everywhere. And I'm just like, for crying out loud. But how are you? I'm going to post in our channels over here that we're live if people are interested in watching. How are you doing?
I'm this good.
Oh. Wait, I couldn't see you because I'm in the doing other things. Oh, yes. You have a dozen of them, I think, right? Are there a dozen of them?
There are. These are the three that are in rotation. One of each color.
Okay. Nice. Well, you can give them away. You can hide them all over your house. You can annoy your wife with them.
I'm mostly scared that dogs will eat them, so they are squirreled away. No pun intended. Is that a pun? That's not a pun, but a reference. No reference intended. I will squirrel them away.
Intended. Yeah. Too funny. Wow. It's been a while, and yet we've done things.
So we actually saw each other in person, which was lovely.
We did. It was lovely.
And actually
your jacket that just like practically sings.
Exactly. Yeah. So many, for anybody who was not at WordCamp US, I wore a clown jacket, basically.
Clown jacket.
That outrageous OMG IMG jacket. Some interesting things. I don't know whether it obviously didn't hurt the brand. I don't think it would result in any sales. It worked wonders for me basically going like this and getting people's attention. And like people were walking 100 yards from across the big convention center just to come up to me to say, your jacket is amazing. And then people have been asking if they could have one, buy one. And
it is a one of a kind.
Right.
What do they call that? UX?
Oh, nice. Oh, I haven't heard that before.
AK.
But so making me think about, I mean, I've always been taking swag to another level back in the day. You know this. So I still dabble in music, but like way back in the day, I actually did like live electronic performances and stuff. And early 2000s. So I wore a white iridescent jumpsuit like an astronaut, and then eventually actually put what they call L-wire, like early days of LED lighting in it. And so like had this light up jumpsuit. Like I've always been all about the crazy clothes and stuff. So you can't use, I just saw it, right, things we're not going to talk about today, but in all the stuff that's being talked about, we're learning a lot about the trademark. And so WordPress trademark can only be like swag can only be made by Automatic, and is run by folks from Automatic if you use WordPress. And then so it's like if I were to go to a WordCamp US and sell swag that was WordPress adjacent, but at no point mentioned WordPress, like there's vendor licensing or things like that. But if I was like selling t-shirts out of a backpack, but anyway, all this is comes out of numerous conversations because people are like, you should think about like either personal branding or selling some sort of crazy swag, or I know you want to brainstorm with me. Come on.
Oh, I've got ideas. So first, that jacket, pull it up on your phone, do something, share it on a screen. People have to see this jacket if they haven't seen it already. So you remember like the old meme of like a guy in a trench coat and he's got like 5 million watches, like, hey lady, want to buy a watch?
Yes. Yep.
So like you open your OMG IMG jacket and there's just more OMG IMG jackets. It's like OMG IMG jacket inception, and you're like, hey lady, want to buy a really brightly colored coat?
Exactly. All right, I'm sharing a picture.
Okay. Oh yes, you are. Okay. So this is the look at your face is priceless. I want to say I might have actually taken this picture.
I think you did. Like,
but I can't, and I delete a whole bunch of stuff after because I've like thousands of photos on my phone. So I apologize if I hurt your feelings that I might have deleted a picture.
Of course not.
But I updated my iOS and I can't find where my deleted photos are. So I can't even confirm that I was the person who took this photo. But I was there and I may have been the person that took this photo. But I also have another idea.
Okay, hit me.
Flat Corey. Do you remember Flat Stanley?
Yes.
So we are an image plugin. We should make a picture on our website, a what's the word I want, a digitized version of that photo, but perhaps smiling. I don't know, just saying. And we make a printable page that is Flat Corey, and you take it with you, and you take photos of it, and you tag us everywhere.
I love it.
Just saying, I think it could be good.
Oh no, okay, that photo's from Howard.
Okay. I saw you.
Okay.
That's why I could not remember exactly where it was. Yes, Howard, you can have all the credit for that slightly menacing photo of Corey.
I look pensive. I'm deep in a conversation,
Okay, menacing, perhaps not menacing then. Okay. I couldn't think of a better word. I have had a day. I will just say that. I have been in nonstop meetings and live streams and recordings and everything all day. So I am not responsible for the words that come out of my mouth. However,
opinions are my own, or not.
Look, I wrote down Flat Stanley, so I'd remember later that we want to do Flat Corey because I think that could be fun.
Yeah. So where are we? Where did you
I don't know, but I love Marcus. Marcus is watching. Marcus, thank you for being our live viewer. I know there's others. There's a couple other people watching right now. You can post in the comments just to say hello or to ask any questions as we go by. But it's always nice to be able to say things like, hi, Marcus. So there you go. You gave me a list of things to discuss today.
Yes. Well, so wait, so I think we're jumping ahead. I had IPA as number 5 instead of number 1, but one. So yeah, since we're talking about WordCamp, we wound up having meetings with people.
We did,
which kind of blew my mind. Like and I think we could talk about this all day.
Yeah, sure.
But well, I'd rather not. There's other things to talk about, but
I just thought
technically.
I'm agreeing to the talking all day part, and then you like added more, and I was like, oh bugger. Anyway, yes.
I think I've said it before. I certainly said it while we were talking to people about it, of like, from my perspective right now, there's something here. I don't know what it looks like. And so we're starting with the directory and we're starting to set up the co-marketing, a first draft of an exercise of co-marketing type stuff. But it was being at WordCamp US, it was great having this other thing to talk about, being IPA. And it's interesting whose eye it caught, and some of the even above 10,000 foot thinking that people have been doing around it,
Yeah.
which is flattering. Like, not, you know what I mean? Like, it's
for
flattering
sure.
to the idea. It's encouraging. It's validating that there's something to all this.
There's some meat in there. My favorite part though is one of those meetings. I was sitting at a table. The people that wanted to talk to us arrived before you had a chance, like literally 10 minutes before you were supposed to even be there. So no fault of your own. And the first thing they said to me was, IPA really makes me think of beer. And I'm like, yes, that is the point. And that made me laugh a little, like, oh, we never thought of that.
Oh, so that's what I wanted to say about the jacket was, as outrageous as the jacket was, it was actually too subtle. Like, so it's a clown jacket, right? But the lettering is ginormous, right?
Yeah.
And so people, you don't, at a glance, you don't, unless you know our branding, you don't immediately go, that's the OMG IMG logo zoomed way in, essentially.
Right.
And so I had at least a few people go like, oh, that's, what a great jacket, what a great way to draw attention to yourself, da da da. And then go, oh wait, it spells OMG IMG. Like, it almost was too subtle, which I thought was a funny side effect.
It dawns on you after a moment jacket. Like, oh, I get it. Yeah.
So
that's cool though.
Anyway, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, going down the list.
Yes.
I did manage to I sent you a screenshot of the new Build-A-Bear make an image screen.
Yes. I'm
That
anxious to
I
play
think
with it later.
looks very handsome, has much more handsome, much more stylized, branded, has all of the features built into one thing. And then I was able to pretty readily replicate it sideways. So I'm almost done with, so this is, again, where all of the thinking and learning and growing that we've done pretty much this year is, people care a lot less about being pixel perfect with images and care a lot more about, ideally, the end result is they literally don't think about it. An image, especially an open graph image, is just made, which is a little, it makes me nervous, because like image generation can go very wrong, and we're not talking about ChatGPT generating or DALL-E generating inappropriate images, but we're talking about, like, one of the things that we emphasize. I should talk about my talk too, the image talk. But like, one of the things that I've now done this image talk for Stellar WP. I don't know if you've heard of them. They did a really cool online conference.
Sounds familiar.
Green Geeks, the hosting company, had me on to do the talk, and then I gave the talk first at this really awesome meetup in Buffalo, Syracuse, Binghamton.
Don't you dare.
Endicott.
No, we're the third largest city in New York. Rochester.
New York City. Rochester. The meetup, you were kind enough to have me, and that was great, because that kind of kicked off me doing this talk. And so now I've done it 4 times, and so it's like, you do a talk a few times and you hone it. And I was relating it to my mom, who was a teacher for 30 years, where I'm like, it's like a lesson. And so as a professor, you might give the talk, the same presentation about, such and such a battle, or a rules of grammar or something, over and over again every year. And every year you're going to hone it based on feedback and whatnot. But so one of the key concepts that you helped me kind of pull out of that talk is thinking about Open Graph images as this is how you are represented online. And so in that spirit, I am still baby stepping forward to where people can generate an Open Graph image without essentially pre-approving an Open Graph image, because that is how you are represented online. And so if that image is broken or looks bad, it's my fault, quote unquote. It's the plugin's fault that generated a bad image. That is what then represents you. And because, as we've talked about, Open Graph images are often this kind of thing over there. It's third party talking to fourth party about you. You may not know how you're being represented, and so then again, it's sort of our fault, not really, but it's the result of bad whatever image generation that you are misrepresented. And so I'm trying to be very intentional or very protective of that situation. Because the next step beyond, like, it's one thing to write a blog post and have a template not generate a great image. It's another thing I've talked about. Like, I have a client who's got 13,000 posts, none of which have Open Graph images. At some point, we're going to click a button. We're going to start generating thousands of images. And so the likelihood that some one of them, and depending on how the template's set up, that at least some of them go horribly wrong. If a title is way too big and it goes off the image or something, where the font needs to be smaller, it gets higher and higher. Anyway, so that's kind of what we're working towards. But all that to say, like, what people really want is an image that's just generated. And so, so this is the new screen for looking at the post list. And there's a column that you can disable, but you can see the Open Graph image of every one of your posts. If it doesn't have one, click a button, choose a template, and generate one right from that screen, so you can walk through them one at a time. There is also click a button, and then it generates all of them for all of them, which again is that sort of end result. But taking that, generate an image for a single post from within, right now, the classic editor. There is an implementation for Gutenberg, but I haven't updated that. But this next big update is going to have all three of those instances updated, and more importantly, look the same for the sake of consistency and good UI and all that kind of stuff.
What I like about it is I'm going to brag for a second, because I love the title or the tagline that I came up with for our advertising series. Was that I used to, I mean, we're talking back in the day, right? When I first started using WordPress, I never knew which image was going to show up on social media, or if an image was going to show up on social media. And you could set a featured image, and most of the time it would pull it, but not necessarily. And then you can use things like Yoast and try to tell it that that's what it's going to be. And usually that still works, right? If you run it through, and not always on the first time though. Sometimes you have to like run it through what we have now on the footer, which is that tool that we have. But with the Open Graph, it's just, that is the image that's going to show up. And so, then I think we came up with never play image roulette again. Like, what's gonna show up when I post it to Twitter, or what's gonna show up when I put it on LinkedIn or wherever. And so, and to me, that was the understanding the difference between what Open Graph was versus just setting a featured image. So, yeah, no, that's great. The work you're doing is awesome. I wish I was a developer sometimes so I could be like, oh, I'll do that part. But yeah, that's not going to happen, because not my strength. I'd have to go to school
feedback
first. Good. Yes, right. I'm good at the feedback part.
You have ChatGPT like the rest of us. You can write code like the rest of us now.
Yeah, but you still have to understand what you're trying to code first.
Okay, that's true.
It's only as good as the prompt.
Yes. But yeah, so that's the direction the product's taking, and was thankfully congruent with the continued feedback. Like, as I was pitching to people at WordCamp US, they're like, "Great jacket, what are you talking
Mm-hmm.
about? And so, did the pitch, and it, the it's still frustratingly, but but appropriately, like, not a problem that people realize they have. So that's like ideal, not the situation you ever really want to be in. But as we talked today, there's we're seeing new products come out in the space, so other people are at least thinking about this problem. um, and and then with the again, the pivot of the focus of the product, I think soon you and I will spend a lot of time working on updating the website to
Yeah.
focus more on, here is a problem that you don't have to think about. um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where we
so
can define the problem in a better way so people understand why this is an important thing for them to be using.
right, sorry, I'm getting urgent messages from my family about kayaks.
Oh, that is urgent.
Um,
You never know what is important one moment to the next. But yeah, I also want to take a couple minutes and just ask, how did your talk go at WordCamp US?
it went great. It went great. I giving a first time talk, um, definitely took away from my WordCamp experience, because I had to spend more time preparing the talk than standing around in my fabulous jacket, my Technicolor Dreamcoat, um, talking with people, which is the point. And so
Mhm,
I was disappointed with how it shook out that way. Um, but the talk went well. It was well received, and and fun, and a neat story, and I think it'll make a great video. Like, I've never, other than to get feedback or to see myself speak and then go, okay, I should talk slower, kind of thing. I've never watched any of my videos, because I'm like, I'm just moving forward. Like, I give them to give
mhm,
them. The value is in the conversations or the networking or getting in front of people, and I think that there's a lot of value in that, especially at the smaller word camps or
mhm,
meetups. At WordCamp US, like, it's an honor to speak at such a big conference, but it's, to me, it has become such a business
mhm,
conference that I don't know that I'm going to see, like, this is a crummy thing to say, like, return on, and ROI,
mhm,
right? But
mhm.
um like, I don't think I will apply to speak at a WordCamp US again, because unless one, you have a talk, like, if I was doing my image talk, it would have been a whole different situation.
Sure.
I have that one down. I can review my slides in 20 minutes and then get up and give a great presentation.
Mhm,
Whereas this one was like, I needed to spend a lot of time. Um, and it also was not, I wasn't pushing my product. So I think if you could get
mm,
up and give a talk
mhm.
that represents you and your business so that it ends up being a marketing opportunity, then that would be great. So now that
Yeah.
I say all that out loud, I think I'm just going to be more intentional about what I pitch to
Mhm.
present in the future,
Yeah.
and
I'm
talks are
sorry.
accepted or not, kind of thing.
I'm sorry I wasn't in your talk. I actually wanted to be there and lost track of time, if I'm being completely honest. So that
I heard that
happens.
from a lot of people, but I am pleased to say that most of the time I would say, like, of my talks, I'm like, wait for the blog post, or you can get a
Yeah.
quick summary, and you could with this talk too, but this talk was a story. And I think I was 78% successful in, like, telling it as a story. If nothing else, like, I nailed the punchlines that I wanted to nail, and I feel like I did more or less create the story arc that I'd hoped to create. And so I actually, for the first time, encourage people to go watch the talk, because it's such a fun story, and
Mhm.
and heartwarming, and all that kind of stuff. So,
And you brought
um,
snacks.
and I brought snacks,
I did not bring snacks to my talk, but
and that's why nobody is talking about yours. Um, I'm just kidding. I'm
how
just kidding.
mean. I could take wait. Okay, bye. hold the power.
Deserved.
Mine went
Nobody's
well,
talking about my talk either, but nobody's talking about any of the talks. Let's be honest. But that's all we're gonna say about that.
That is all we're gonna say.
So thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm.
My talk went well. You said yours did as well.
It did. It did. I was very happy. I had my favorite moment when I'm giving a talk is I hit a slide or two and all the phones come up to take a picture of that slide, which to me says you're saying something people want to remember later. Even though I've given them the link to the slides, I've done all those things because for most of us, you have to take a picture of it if you're going to remember at all, right?
Right.
And so, and I had people like message me even afterwards. Marcus in the comments. Oh, Marcus. Anyway, I'm not reading that one out loud. But first I was like, what does that mean? Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I've had people message me afterwards and actually say, I've listened to you for a really long time. I've followed you. I've heard a lot of what you put in that talk, but to see it all together was really helpful. So yeah.
That's
so that was cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And I also did not watch yours.
So I don't feel that bad for missing yours either. Then.
nor should you. But what you shared with me some of the slides, the content, and whatnot, and I love how much of you put into that content.
Yeah. Well, that's all I know how to do.
Well, but it's like my image talk is very valuable to many people because that information again has not been brought together, or some people learn best. Like I don't go to educational talks, not because I'm sure they're not wonderful, but I don't learn that way. Like sitting there for 45 minutes, my ADHD will not let me absorb that information. I need, I need 10 bullet points or less, and then I move on. So I'm happy to present it, and I try to, put as much personality and entertainment, my dad jokes and stuff into it as I can, but it's not these are facts, and I am summarizing facts in a logical way, Whereas a lot of what you shared with me, some of it's facts, a lot of it should be facts, but often isn't, sadly. And then some of it is educated opinion, where people should in fact listen to your opinions. And that's what I mean. Like, I think that's hugely valuable.
Yeah.
And then a differentiator,
Yeah. And I talked to somebody beforehand who asked what the talk was going to be about, what some of my main points were. They didn't come to the session, which was fine. And I told them, like, I don't say thank you. And I don't say, I'm sorry if there aren't things that should be applied. And they disagreed with me. And I'm like, that's great, because I'm not making you do anything with your business. It's just my opinion. And a lot of people also have agreed with it, but maybe it's not right for you and your brand, and that's all good. So,
well, and take that a step higher, right? So many people, and this is what I loved early on, and not that I'm not still learning, but so many concepts that I learned 20 years ago as I got into small business, SaaS, entrepreneurship, I had never thought about language in that way. Like, what does it mean to say thank you, or when is it appropriate? What are you saying when you say thank you? Right. And I mean, that was one of the things that I found amazing. Not that I was some expert on old school business, but like the fact that there was all this new thinking, because we have these new opportunities of running businesses from our computers anywhere in the world, even 20 years ago, was revolutionary. And so I was voraciously reading business books, because there were so many new ideas. I'm contradicting myself, but I was reassured that these were new ideas. Right. So it was interesting to absorb it anyway. So you share that kind of stuff, and I love it.
Yeah, that's fun. I like that. And if we only both thought the same way about everything and shared things in the same way, this would be very boring, and working on this project would not work very well. So it's good that we have similar thought processes, but we have yin and yang approach to things sometimes, which I think is pretty good. Yeah,
that's true.
Pretty cool stuff.
For sure. So speaking of my image talk, So I have, like I said, I've given it 4 times. It was recorded twice. Unfortunately, to date, the best I gave it was actually at the little meetup that could, in Keene, but I forgot to hit record on my phone, which I try to do. But I took the transcript from the 2 that were recorded, threw those into Claude, said, generate from these transcripts, generate a multi-part drip campaign as lead generation. And this is one of those, like, I'm blown away. Like, we're all blown away. We're starting to take it for granted, but I love that I'm still, once in a while can be like, oh my God. So I will be sending it. It wrote a 10-part, with first one being welcome and the last one being, thank you. And but it took it. And so I'm skimming it, and I'm, making a few corrections here and there, and I'm going to pass it along to you.
I'll probably take thank you right out of it.
Which is fine, and that's
depending on how it's applied.
Absolutely. And yeah, I love that. But things that blew me away were, like, specifically, so I just said, take this content and write a drip campaign with a welcome. And it did, but it added number 10 that said thank you plus special bonus, and then said, as a thank you for reading all this, I hope you found the series valuable. As a token of my appreciation, I put together a special bonus for you, a free checklist with a link to, it just said in brackets, link to checklist PDF. I didn't ask for that. It just was like, here, I'm going to take this to the next level. So then, of course, my next prompt was, please generate the checklist PDF, which it promptly did.
Was it good?
Yeah. I mean, it's much of the same content, and some of it, again, like, I will swap in and out, or because there's products that I'd rather promote or not mention at all, or what have you. But
sure.
But anyway, so as a lead gen, I'll pass this over to you probably this week, and then I'm setting it up in, right now we use Email Octopus, and so I'll be adding that in there. And then we'll start prompting people on the website to learn more about images broadly.
I love that. I think that's a great idea, and I'm all about images, as you can tell. I think that's great. I love the idea.
To go like this.
I know. I almost did. Like, hello, all my photography. And I hadn't thought of a drip campaign, which I'm a little embarrassed it didn't come to me, but that's a great idea, especially taking it out of things you've already said and not having to recreate it right from scratch. It makes perfect sense. And I need to learn Chat GPT better, or just AI, and leverage it better. And I don't know if it's because I'm old school. Like, I used to not want to use Canva because I know, Photoshop. And now I'm like, why do I have to think of everything when Canva has a lot of it? Like, right there is idea generation, that kind of thing. So I do need to lean in more to the whole AI thing. So
yeah, I'm trying to. I use are you familiar with Set app? You're on a Mac, right?
I am, but I do not know that one.
So setapp.com, I think.
Writing it down.
And I will message it to you. Yeah. So I was very skeptical at first, sort of. So it's a $10 a month gets you all of these apps, instead of buying all of the apps individually. And originally you can put that comment from Marcus on the screen. Corey's jacket at WordCamp US was a drip campaign, the way the teens used to use the word drip.
That's awesome.
I will own that happily.
James
although I don't know if he's meaning.
Don't tell ChatGPT to open the docking bay doors. Okay, Hal.
So I don't know if Marcus is calling me a drip, or if he's saying that I was, like, dripping in fashion. But either way, I'll take it.
I was going to say your interpretation. Marcus, don't say anything more. Adam Week says Marcus has the comment of the day, which is true. Absolutely true. Oh, drip is in your outfit. Like, wait. Fashion.
Fashion. There we go. Love it.
The comments are coming in so fast. I try to unclick one and it clicks the next one. I love it. Engagement is great.
But yeah, so I had bought a bunch of different apps, and they were in, and then one by one found that they were included in set app. And so when it came time, like I just kept renewing, because honestly, like I want to make sure the revenue goes to the developers and stuff like that. But I'm like, they're choosing to be part of this package. And it finally got to the point where I was like, oh, right, there's just so many of these apps that I'm paying for individually. It does financially make sense to just pay. And it's $10 a month, but I think it's, 60 per year or 70 per year. So you get a little discount. And then it's also great because there's no excuse not to use apps that are built into it because they're free or you've already paid for them. And so there's one that is a transcript app. So that's what I used to take the transcripts from my recording, my presentation, to then get the transcription. And then there's another app that I bought when it first came out called Typing Mind. That is an AI client. And I still don't really get, I don't understand all of the value, like the IDE that I use. I think I'm using 20% of it. But what I do like is that at one point I had subscribed to ChatGPT. So I was paying $20 a month. And I was like, I got to use it. I got to use it to get $20 in value. And then discovered that you can generate an API key. So then you're only pay for what you use. And so with Typing Mind, I have plugged in an API key for OpenAI or for ChatGPT and an API key for Claude. And then you can select which one. And because sometimes they brown out and sometimes they don't give you the answer you want. And so you can jump back and forth. And then there's a bunch of, there's 101 other neat functions in built in that, again, I don't understand. But having a client and having dedicated threads that I can come back to. And so I'm like, this one's about PHP. This one's about JavaScript. This one's about WordPress. This one's marketing ideas. This one's, and so it's like, I can continue those conversations, or stay focused. I no longer have to say, okay, I'm writing PHP today. Help me write this code. I jump into the PHP one and just start typing. And it knows that the context for this conversation is PHP.
That's really wild.
So anyway.
So Marcus says he uses that app for Bartender, CleanShot X, Luminar, and Pod. Now, I don't know what any of those are. So
Bartender. So because I'm running 101 apps, I have 101 icons in the top right of my Mac. Bartender makes them 3 dots.
Oh, nice.
And you click on it and it expands, but you click it and it goes whoop, and so it doesn't go all the way across your screen and it doesn't look messy. And then CleanShot is, I still think that it is the far and away the best screenshot app. Gotcha. I use it. That one I use at least, no exaggeration, a dozen times a day. Every image I sent you, like minutes before, I showed you me checking my mic level, even me going, did you take this photo? The photo that I shared, I screenshotted just the square and sent it to you. I'm scrolling back. There was the newsletter that came out today.
Gotcha.
The repository newsletter. Everybody should subscribe. It's another great one.
Yes.
With an arrow, so annotation, all that super easy with CleanShot. And then I don't know what the other ones are. Luminar. It's probably like a light dark kind of.
He got it for CleanShot, and then the others after subbing to Set App.
And I had paid for CleanShot for years.
I just know the keystroke to do a screenshot, and that's all I do.
Yeah.
But
this lets you annotate. So I draw text,
nice.
I draw arrows, because I'm dealing with clients who are super non-techy. So sending them a screenshot is not enough. No,
I usually open it in like Photoshop and then have to like draw arrows and stuff. So I'm like, You're just wasting you're not wasting, you're spending my money now, Corey, because you know I'm going
There
to
you
be
go.
looking at all these later. Oh, and not
There you
only Corey, but Marcus, because now Marcus is
I
costing
get
me.
the
Thank you,
affiliate
guys.
link, not you, Marcus.
Not using anybody's affiliate link, just so there. Nah. No, kidding.
And then there's a bunch of other like tech stuff. There's a Git client. There's but they just came out with a really nice, I haven't tried it yet, but a screen recording app, but where you can put yourself in the little bubble, which I've been wanting to do for videos.
Mhm.
Anyway, there's
Cool.
apparently it's turning into a sales call for SetApp, but highly recommend.
I will look
But
into it.
Typing Mind is
Yes.
included in that. That was my
Oh,
point all
nice.
along, to have
Mhm.
an AI client.
I love that.
Where are we at?
That's awesome.
19 minutes and 3 more items on the list.
Now the next one is about the planning for our website. That's definitely something that's coming. We talked about that a little bit. And
tied into the next thing, which is number 4, plan for Black Friday. So
yes.
So just broadly speaking, we've got less than 2 months. I want to do another big Black Friday sale. I want to, at some point, you and I have a dedicated conversation about pricing, because I'm also starting to think that we might be priced a little high. And so we might be able to use Black Friday as sort of a test case of if people will buy it for $60 instead of $99, then maybe we just roll with that pricing.
I'm also wondering, I've been watching Paid Memberships Pro, and they are doing a one-time limited lifetime deal. And I've never done a lifetime deal with anything. I've always just heard, oh, don't do them. And I'm wondering if we're new enough and scrappy enough that we should experiment with that through Black Friday as well, come up with what a lifetime deal value might be, and then offer like a limited number of them, like,
Right.
somehow
I mean, we offer one. We offer one now, but it's full price.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it was, and I want to say half of what we did at our launch for Black Friday a year ago was lifetime. I actually keep forgetting. I want to go, I'll write it down in a sec. I want to go look at how many were actually activated. With social link pages, my previous product, I actually launched on AppSumo's marketplace. So not AppSumo where you get the big push, but they have this marketplace that you can kind of put yourself in. And so you don't get nearly the attention, but you still get some attention, or you have the benefit of everybody who's browsing things there. And I got, I don't know, 80 sales or something. And
that's
literally I think 3 or less actually ever used it. And so it was like, it's free. It's so cynical, but it's free money.
And you haven't had to support any of it.
Well, there you go. So yeah, I've also been sort of playing with that idea of like doing a launch, which would get us a chunk of money. Like we've had a little bit to play with, or like as I did a talk and got a couple of $100, then I'd apply that to ads kind of thing. But it would be great to have a bigger pile of money to do something with, run ads, sponsor a WordCamp. I mean, I have no idea, but then we'd at least have some options.
Yeah. And whatever we come up with as far as Black Friday goes, I have an entire list of places to submit those deals to, including Post Status, which I'm putting up on the screen now. Anybody who's going to be running a deal for Black Friday can submit their Black Friday Cyber Monday deal now. The page is actually live already. Not a lot on it yet, but we did it. Yep. So I didn't want to wait till last minute.
I was reminded, as I suspect you were, because Nathan posted his in WP Builds on Monday. And I was like, oh, right, time to get started. So
nope, I actually had this in place 3 weeks ago. So there you go.
Good for you.
Maybe I reminded him. I don't know.
Probably.
Probably. I'll also be honest and say that I was on the Cloudways Prepathon, and because it was going to be about preparing for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and the holidays, I made sure that the Post Status page was ready and willing and able to do all the things so that I could be promoting that at the same time.
Nice.
I don't always think ahead, but when I do, I am on the money.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Woo!
But yeah, so I'm starting to think about. I've been floundering for at least the first half of this year. I think I've talked a little bit about it. Of direction, of motivation, of all sorts of things.
Mhm.
And so I'm coincidentally, I am motivated. How do I want to say this? WordCamp US helped me zoom out and go, this might not be like, I still think that OMG should be installed on every website next to an SEO plugin.
Mhm.
But people don't have the problem, which isn't true, but don't know they have the problem. And also, if they're going to put it next to an SEO plugin that they're already spending $100 for. So all of these things are making me go, okay, this might not have the legs that I originally hoped that it did.
Well, one of the
Which
things we
isn't to
talked
say,
about when I first came on was we have to figure out how to explain to people the pain point they didn't know they had. Right. And and I can't remember. I think there was a bicycle in there. Didn't we talk about bicycles or something? I can't remember now, but where there's things that are nice to have and the things that are necessary to have. And you need security. You need, a form plugin. Could you do this for yourself? Yeah, but what a pain in the rear end to try to do this for yourself, right? So this is one of those things that it solves a pain point that isn't necessarily your site won't function without it. You won't be able to make sales without it, right? But it still is something that can save you so much time, and time is money, so it's a good investment. So it's finding a way to say that, explain what the pain point is, explain why it's necessary, and then make the sales that way. And that's been a little bit the struggle, right? To try to figure out how to say that succinctly. And it also is like we have to get it to the point where it's easy to show people how to use it and how to just like boom, use it and go and have fun. And maybe I don't know fun, but I like building websites. But and then also the kind of thing where let's make it so that it's really easy to do, but the website also has to get caught up with that as well. So we're just juggling a few things that have to come into play, into the perfect storm, if you will, and be able to move forward from there. And we're getting there.
And making sure that the dogs are about to explode.
It's that time of day.
And so WordCamp US helped me zoom out and kind of go, okay, so this is, just a product. And so what is, let's hurry up and put a bow around essentially the new focused product, which again, more emphasis on automation, image generation, that kind of thing. And then updating, because I've been the bottleneck because I've been floundering. And so the product hasn't been updated. So then the website hasn't been updated and it rolls downhill. So coming soon will be the new version of the product, and which doesn't really bottleneck other than taking screenshots because I need to finish the screens. But so I want to start working on shifting the focus of the website and all of that. Ideally, I think we do in the next 7 weeks or whatever, whenever Black Friday is.
I think so too.
And so at that point, it's all just kind of rolling forward where we feel like everything is feature complete, or you never want to say done, but it's like, here is the complete thing that does everything we say it does. And then honestly, I want to focus more on the website and more on marketing and that kind of thing. But thinking of it, I don't know. It's like, I keep wanting to say just a product, but it's like, putting my arms around it and then pushing it rather than it
Absolutely.
like all of this pie. Not again, I'm saying the wrong words, because it's like I don't want to be, what do you, diminutive? No, like I don't want to not
Hmm.
say that everything that we do is good and amazing, but like
Right.
it's real easy to think big, 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 and it's like, okay, but we need to just get some freaking sales,
Yeah. Yeah.
push this product, get some sales, you know, get
Yeah.
customers, talk to customers, that kind of stuff.
We should, and I haven't looked at yet to see if those ads we ran started running have generated any traffic yet either. In that magazine, I don't know. So we could talk about that next week, maybe too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take a look at some of our analytics.
Yeah, we got some clicks, which led to some traffic, not a lot.
Mhm.
And
We could post those 180 characters with a link to those landing pages through our socials as well, and see if anybody finds the humor and enjoys them enough to share them and maybe make a purchase. You never know.
yep.
So we can set that up.
And get, yeah, I want to, yeah, all that kind of stuff. Like once again, look at automating more marketing,
Mm-hmm.
the low level stuff,
Yep.
like, and do
Like a drip
things like,
campaign.
right, exactly. It's
Mm-hmm.
the words on screens everywhere we possibly can with a backlink. Somebody else messaged me. I have it in my inbox. Everything. This was the other thing about my talk at WordCamp US was like everything got put on hold for 2 weeks leading up to it because I was scrambling. I had to focus on my talk, and so that was
Mm-hmm.
poor
Same.
time management for myself, or a bad side effect of making those choices. But
And
so like I have
I have this full-time job and a part-time job at Post Status that just like and events. But anyway, yeah, my excuses. I'll have a whole list of excuses.
oh, me too. I mean, client work and
Yeah, for
dogs
sure.
to feed and walk, and
Yeah. Did we come up with
kinda,
earlier this year? Didn't I come up with a song about OMG IMG? Wasn't there a
you
song
did,
like that I did through that AI generation? I,
didn't you?
yeah, I don't know where it is. I'll have to go back and look for it because that would be fun to put out on socials too. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
here, learn about this.
Yep. And I have like one of the things that got put on hold is I have an email that said, oh, they also asked me to do the same presentation for another online conference, but I couldn't. I don't remember why.
Mm.
Um, I'm busy that weekend, kind of thing. But they came back and said, well, what do you think about taking part of it and making a blog post? And so I'm going to take part of the transcription or the drip campaign and have ChatGPT generate a blog post. Maybe I shouldn't say this out
No,
loud.
it's fine.
It'll still, obviously, I'm still going to proofread it and edit it and all that kind of stuff. But, but there's another backlink to
Mm-hmm.
OMG. And so,
I'm happy to
more
read through
things
it
like
too.
that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
But sort of, yeah, getting out of my own way. Part of what I want to say. Like,
Yeah.
it's easy to think bigger and bigger and bigger, in part because like I have something I've struggled with over the years is my identity gets tied up into these projects that I start. And I think that passion is good and commitment is good, and being true to myself, like these projects represent me and all that kind of stuff, but like it becomes too consuming, and then I'm also too disappointed when they don't immediately go through the roof, kind of thing. So
Mm.
so just kind of stepping back and going like, just do the work and
Mm-hmm.
see where you land. So
It what you just said reminded me of, I'm gonna paraphrase it because I do not remember it exactly, but like Michelangelo saw the David in the marble, but he didn't just snap
mm,
his fingers. Like he had to carve away at all that marble to get to the David. And it's not an immediate gratitude. The fingers appear and then the crown of the head appears, and it's a while before you have an entire statue that you're happy to see, right? And that is also true of marketing and building a product like this. Is it's not nothing's very few things are overnight sensations, and the things that we think are overnight sensations seldom actually are. They're the work of years of people studying and working to get to where they were suddenly discovered at that point. but nothing seems to, it's like somebody didn't just wake up and decide they were going to sing an aria on Broadway, or in, I just mixed my musical theaters, but sing an aria at the Met Opera or whatever, so these things take time, and we have to remind ourselves that. And I feel like sometimes I feel guilty that I've been working with you on it since whatever it was, February, March, and like I've not helped you move the needle very much, but it's been a process, and we've been working on it together, and I'm not going to beat you up, and I hope you're not going to beat me up, and certainly I hope we don't beat up ourselves. So we just keep pushing forward and moving it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And talking to like Mark Westgard was a perfect example where WS Form only came on my radar like last year, and so I was chatting with him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been working on this for 7 years."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the flywheel has to start turning, and then it it self-perpetuates and that kind of thing. And
just
and
got to
now
keep
he's
it
killing
oiled
it,
and all that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and keep chipping away at it. That's something else that I'm watching for myself, is like there are so many apps that I see getting popular, that have seen get popular over the last 20 years, and that I've built, I built well and abandoned, or like lost interest in, or I guess that's the same thing. But and so it's the like, I think that's part of that's the other thing that I'm trying to say to myself. Like one of my takeaways is like, not that I'm not always in this for the long haul, but like going, this is one of the things that I'm going to keep chipping away at, but it doesn't have to be the whole thing, so that when I lose interest, it's all or nothing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
I tend to treat things as all or nothing. And this is like, okay, this is a product. Let's get it to where it's great unto itself. And we chip, and we push it a little bit often, and see how it grows over the next few years, not necessarily like, oh, this has to go like this, or else, I sell it and move on to the next thing.
Our families aren't vacationing in Bermuda together in December, but maybe someday as we build it. I've never been to
We're
Bermuda.
trying,
It sounds
man. We're
fun.
trying. The Black Friday could be the
It could be the pivot point. You never know. You never know. I love it. Okay, well, did we talk about all the things?
Let's call it.
We're good. So, if you're still listening, I have a date tonight, and I have got to get ready and meet this person in about an hour and a half. So if we cut this off at a few minutes early, so I can brush my hair and brush my teeth, all's good. I'll let you know tomorrow how it goes.
Awesome. We'll have so much fun.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll catch up soon.
All right. We'll see everybody next week.